Hi guys, hope everyone's well and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take you through a full day of eating at one day out from the UKDFBA British Finals. And every morning I start my day with 1.5 litres of water and also a hydration formula for obvious reasons to be hydrated effectively, because we don't just want a appropriate amount of water to be hydrated but also electrolytes, which we can get through salt and a hydration formula. So I am now having my pre-workout meal before doing my last session before the show, and my pre-workout meal hasn't really changed despite starting to kind of carb up, or in other words eat more carbohydrates going into the show, which I'll get to the reasons behind soon. But my pre-workout meal is 100 grams of rice, 120 grams chicken, 100 grams of green beans and 100 grams of pineapple, with 3 grams of salt in total. And as well as that, I have 25 grams of dark chocolate. And the benefit of dark chocolate, again, helps slow down the digestion of your carbohydrates just due to having fat in it. And as well as that, it has benefits in terms of helping you get a pump. So I hope you enjoy the video. Any questions, drop them in the comments. Any support's massively appreciated, so give it a share on your Instagram story if you enjoy it. And hope you take some value from it. So in for an upper body pump session, and throughout the session I'm purposely avoiding any deep stretches just because I don't want to create any muscle damage, which will impact my ability to kind of uptake carbohydrates, or basically store glycogen or store carbs in a negative manner. So each movement I'm doing round about 2 reps in reserve on, and just getting plenty of blood kind of flowing to the muscles, making sure I'm utilising those carbohydrates. Next up, we've got an upper back pull down. If you're trying to target your upper back during a pull down, keeping that chest proud, really try and exaggerate getting like a big stretch at the top, allowing your shoulders to travel forward and then driving the bar towards your chest. Basically the opposite you want to do if you're actually trying to target your lats. So what I'm also doing throughout the session is keeping movements the same as I usually do when possible. What I mean by that is like sticking to the same chest press, row machines, because part of what will create muscle damage, which again I want to avoid, is doing like novel movements or new movements. So if you've ever, let's say, done a new exercise, you get more soreness than usual, that's why. So as a result, I'm trying to stick to the same movement patterns. So that is us now finished the upper body session, and we're now driving down to, can't even remember, Bedworth, which is just next to Leicester. And my post-workout meal is 95 grams of cream of rice, which is basically like it's kind of like powdered rice, you could say. And you cook this just via adding like boiling water to it, and as well as that I mix it in with whey afterwards. So I've got 40 grams of whey, bourbon biscuit flavoured, which is quite nice, and as well as that 4 rice cakes. And yeah, this meal is my standard post-workout meal. My other meals in my diet were kind of carb free, like the other two after, so that's primarily where we've added the food, whereas this one's still already got like a good amount of carbohydrates in it already, so it makes sense from a digestive standpoint to add those calories to the other meals that don't have the carbohydrates in them. So yeah, gonna eat this. It's definitely enjoyable when the extra food comes in during peak week, although it's from plain sources. After dieting for so long, like you can eat dirt and it's gonna taste nice. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this, and the drive's going pretty smoothly so far. So smooth sailing, and the plan later today will be stopping for a coffee after this meal at some point, and if it's okay with the old fella, and then after that we're checking into the room, getting my tan done, and also a weekly shop. Unsure of the order, we'll see what time we get there. So that's us just arrived at the accommodation. I've literally just booked a travel lodge. I did originally have that Airbnb booked, but I ended up booking the wrong location, which was not ideal, which was a good 40-50 minutes from the venue. And considering I need to travel there to get my tan, and just so there's low stress, we just booked a travel lodge and cancelled the Airbnb. So I lost about £190, which was lovely, but nonetheless, we've at least got somewhere to stay. There's worse situations to be in. So I'm now having my third meal of the day, which is 150 grams of rice, 150 grams of mushrooms, and 150 grams of 5% mince, which is 150 grams of rice extra on top of my baseline diet. So what I mean by that is, before, when I was in a purposeful deficit, I didn't have that rice added to that meal. So I'm going to eat this, and then I think we're going to the shops before getting my tan done. So that is my coat of tan done, and I am now sitting down with my fourth meal of the day, which is 150 grams of rice, which has been added to my base diet, and 120 grams of chicken. Usually I will have 100 grams of green beans to this meal, but we are removing that just due to the fact that we want lower food volume to keep my midsection tight for tomorrow, and fibre pulls water into the gut, and as a result it can maybe, like, just again add volume to my midsection, which we don't want on show day. So yeah, and there's nothing wrong with obviously removing some greens for a short period of time. It's not like I'm gonna die from it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna eat this meal and watch something on YouTube. So it's now time for the fifth and final meal of the day, which is 85 grams of oats, 20 grams of almond butter, and also 40 grams of whey, which is just my usual last meal. Again, we added the carbohydrates to the meals that didn't really have much carbs in them. And the reason why I'm eating more carbohydrates going into the show is it gives your muscles the look of being kind of fuller, if that makes sense. And when we're doing so, what you kind of want to do is find that look where you've got good fullness, but you've not had so much carbohydrates that you start storing kind of water outside the muscle cell. In other words, you kind of spill, if that makes sense. So there's a good middle ground between the two, and that's what we try and find, and we can do through monitoring progress photos, looking at scale weight, etc., and finding the look that we want on stage that best represents my physique. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned, and be sure to enjoy the show day video as well that will follow.
The second exit onto Sergeant Simon Valentine Way.
So we've just arrived at the venue and just having my second meal before getting my top coat of tan done, which is 50 grams of chicken, 50 grams of rice, and also 20 grams of dark chocolate. Hi everyone, hope you're well. So it is now one day post show. As you obviously wouldn't have seen, I didn't really get much content of the actual show itself. So when I obviously go backstage, like I give my dad the camera so he can actually film me on stage. And they didn't really let a lot of individuals film using a camera, and his phone quality is like a potato. So I didn't really get much footage. But what I will do is as I'm kind of talking through right now, I'll put some shots on the screen of what I looked like on stage as I give you a quick recap of the show and the rest of the day. I was going to just not make like a show day video, but then I thought this morning, right, I might as well at least kind of summarise it and add it on to the full day of eating video that I'd done the day prior and kind of make the two into one. And yeah, so ended up getting 4th place in the UKDFBA International Championships. As for how I felt, I was gutted after. I won't lie, I was kind of a bit devastated. Even had a bit of a bubble, I won't lie. And the reason being is like nobody, as much as I'm being a hypocrite and I literally said it's about your own self improvement, doesn't really matter how you place. At the same time, I don't compete to lose. I don't compete to not place well. You know what I mean? So, in the grand scheme of things, looking back on it, like this season I've won the Scottish, placed second in 2 British finals, and then 4th in a British final. And then 2 years ago in this exact show, I didn't even place top 5. So it's a big improvement in itself. So I got 4th place, still a trophy finish, I guess, and a medal accompanied with it. So yeah, not the again like see if let's say the people in front of me didn't turn up, I would have won. I would have looked the same, but I'd be a lot happier. So it's weird the fact that like it lets you maybe it influences your mood or how you feel about how you've done, but I can't help it at the same time, and I think that is somewhat a good trait. Like if I was happy about it, if I was just content about how I placed, I think that's more of a problem. Like I think if you want to be a high level athlete, if you want to excel at a sport, you need to have that mindset. So yeah, and coach is happy with how I've done. Coach is happy with my look. My feedback is basically like off my coach, like just bring up more balance from my upper body because I've got really like dominant quads and legs as a whole, which is good and it looks cool, but it takes away from the rest of my physique, and then I don't have like the best shape, the best pop to my lats, my shoulders, etc., which could be improved. So we know what we need to do to be better, which is a good thing. And yeah, that's about it. So we drove home right after the show. And the reason being is it means I could get back into my normal routine, sleep in my normal bed, and get a good night's sleep before legs this morning. Whereas we were going to travel home today, which would be the Monday morning, but because the show was on quite early and we got an early finish, just due to being the second class of the day on, we thought we'd just shoot. So yeah, overall, not. I was absolutely gutted, but now the dust has settled, I think it was just a bit of a shock, if that makes sense. Like the folk who came first and second, 100% like they well deserved the wins. The guy third, obviously like better than me, hence why he placed higher than me. I'm not going to say I should have got third or that. I would have liked to beat him. And I was a bit gutted I didn't get the 3rd place, but it is what it is. And again, like the kind of dust has settled, and I'm not so much upset. I'm just kind of, yeah, I'm still disappointed, and I'm not happy with the result, maybe, but I'm not as gutted, and I'm more just driven to be better now, which is kind of a good mindset to have, I guess. So now we are 6 days out from the DFAC World Finals, which will be in Munich. So on the way home last night, I booked the flights and all that there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Any support is massively appreciated.